Hey guys, it's time for Truth Talk. Insightful topics that spark real conversations. Thank you for joining. Let's get this started.
All right. Welcome. Hey, how you doing, Luli?
Doing good, Kathy. Busy.
I know. I mean, we're getting up to the primaries. What is it? When does early voting start? I think
February 17th.
Ooh,
Actually, my anniversary. I told Jeremy, happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. We're going to be real busy at the polls.
He's used to. He's used
Oh, he is. He's a trooper. He is a trooper.
His last birthday, I was in Austin helping Holly. So with the school choice, visiting, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you are running for county commissioner in
Yes.
Precinct 2,
Yes.
and which is Elisa Simmons' old seat. Yeah, she went off and jumped into another seat. That's another story. So,
Yeah.
and you got several people that are running. I mean, not on both sides.
Yeah.
And the one person that you're running against right now is Tony Tenderhold. I think he's the only one, right? Tony.
Yep.
Okay. So it's between you and Tony.
Yes.
So what I wanted to do today is I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about who is Luli, number one,
Yeah.
and why are you running? What brought you to this decision? Because you have a great job.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to have the headache of campaigning.
Oh.
You don't have to be out there doing none of that. You could just sit back and just keep on working in your job. That is a great job.
Yes. Yes.
But you decided, and that's what I want to talk about. Why you decided. So give me some background about you, about Luli, where you're from,
Okay.
and how you came to where you're at today.
Yeah.
So
I'm originally from Buenos Aires, Argentina.
mm-hmm.
And I came to the US around 2009 for work.
Mhm.
And then I met Jeremy, who's now my husband. He came to Argentina, then we came back. So eventually we decided to settle here because Argentina is a country that now we're doing better because we have Javier Milei as a president. But when I came here, we were still under the Kirchner. They were very close with Venezuela. They were very hard ties with Chavez and Maduro.
Mm-hmm.
And the situation in the country was very dire. The middle class was disappearing. Even to today, if you want to purchase a house in Argentina, it's in US currency. If you want to purchase a car, it's in US currency.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So we think that it's hard for young adults to purchase houses here. Oh, in Argentina, it's pretty much impossible. You want to get a mortgage, is 55% down payment. And the interest is around 18 or 19%.
Oh my God.
If you get a good one. Yes, and did I mention that $1 is like 1,300 Argentinian pesos. It used to be 1-to-1 back in 2000.
Wow.
So, and not to mention the corruption in that country. It's not safe to be there. People get murdered for $5 or $10. It's like there's a lot of lawlessness. So that's why this country gave me the opportunities that Argentina didn't. And Argentina, I wouldn't be able to own a house. I wouldn't be able to have a nice car. I wouldn't be able to have the great job that I have. And so that's why when COVID started in 2020, that I stopped traveling for work. I was working more from home. I started getting involved locally because I'm like, hey, let's pay it back to the country because slowly, even with Obama, I started seeing patterns that reminded me back home. But the disturbing is that later I started seeing with Republicans. Remember, 2020, we got shut down and we got told that some companies were essential and some weren't by our governor, Republican, and our county judge, Glenn Whitley, a Republican. So I started looking closer and I started seeing many patterns of, you could call it politicians that were very similar to the ones back home. So I was like, okay, I will get involved in the Republican Party, make a difference. But the problem is that too soon you realize that if you want to do a real difference, you need to kind of follow line and go along to get along with the system. And by the time you get to a position where you can actually make a difference, you've already been absorbed by that system that you're trying to change. So that's why many things don't change. And long story short, that's why I got involved, because I've gone to the border like 10 times during 21 and 2022, and I was fighting against illegal immigration. I'm all for legal immigration, following the process. There's a big line of people waiting to be here. You have many people that are invalid H-1Bs, because I know that there's a lot of scandal about the H-1B.
Right.
It has been abused 100%. But honestly, in my experience, I work a lot with India and I work with Malaysia and everything. And I would say that maybe 20% of the people that I work with are good, but they're good and they're here paying taxes. So if you're going to have an immigration system, you should accommodate the people that are paying taxes, not do what Biden did. And not to mention that my mom, I was sponsoring her green card. Pretty much, I was liable for her. My mom could not ask for any government assistance or I would get the bill.
I didn't know that. Okay.
And before, when I did it, was for 10 years. Now it's for life. So I'm liable for my mother for life.
If she did something wrong or whatever, it's going to fall on you.
Yeah, if she would go and get a SNAP card or any government assistance, I would get the bill, because that's how the law truly works. Yes.
And it really should be that way.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, that way you know that people that are on the system, they're not taking advantage of it, right? So, I mean, that's supposed to help you. Not a lifestyle, but it's supposed to help you.
People are supposed to come here and assimilate and be part of this American dream. It's like we are the land of the free and home of the brave, because people assimilate and contribute to the country, not because we come and try to make it our own little country. If not, we end up being like Little Big World, that game from Disney that you have all the countries, and that's not what makes this country so great. So yes, I was very active fighting illegal immigration. Then I realized, okay, there's nothing that you can do from the advocating, because the Texas code already would allow Abbott to declare an invasion if he would have wanted. But there was a system with Biden making people have refugee status and admitting them all in the border, which is wrong. Because when you're a refugee, you're supposed to seek refuge in the first port of entry. We didn't have any refugee agreement with Mexico, so nobody should have been coming from the southern border, because the U.S. is not the first port of entry if you're a foreigner that you're in Mexico.
So that was surprising to me. I did not know that. So like if somebody was coming from Venezuela or South America, and they came through Mexico, because they have to, they would be the first port of entry, not the U.S. And they would be a refugee in Mexico, not the U.S. And I did not know that.
Yeah, I was.
And I don't think a lot of people that are going to hear this that know that.
No, they don't. What Biden did was completely illegal. The only people that would have been valid as refugee were the ones that they were flying, that there were a lot of programs like Delta Smiles, that non-profit, they were flying people here. So, fast forward, I realized illegal immigration from the advocate side, there was not much I could do other than bring awareness. I participated in some forums about socialism, communism, because, again, the patterns, I kept seeing their patterns. Then I got involved locally, and it was like, I got involved with the taxing entities, because I would have property taxes. Why does my house, the property taxes and my mortgage keep on going up? Okay, I checked the Texas code, the tax code, learned how property taxes are calculated, and I was very involved in the appraisal district. And actually, I think that was part responsible of us not being appraised last year and our property taxes not going up 10%.
And I want people to realize that, what you just said here, because you were fighting, you found out, and this is how you work. You found out that the law said you can go up to 3 years, right? And then you were at the Tarrant County Appraisal District and you were basically telling them, hey guys, you guys are doing it every year, but the law says 3 years. And because you brought those facts to them, you advocated others, right? And then they changed it to 2 years. That was because of your advocacy. It really was, because you were telling people, and I remember that. You were telling people, and that's a good thing. And so I want people to know that your brain works like that because you're a data analyst.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know what that means, because I'm a Six Sigma black belt, and so it's like dig.
Yeah.
And you're like that. That's how, like,
You see the pattern here and there, and it's like, okay, if I put all of this together, that's how it works. That's why I'm good in what I do, and also I find it oddly entertaining to look at Texas code and stuff. Yeah, because I realized that a lot of the things that we need to fix, they're not hard to fix, Kathy.
Right.
Like with the property taxes, it said that your property tax is based on the valuation of your house.
Mm-hmm.
If they increase every year the valuation 10%, your property taxes go up 10%.
Mm-hmm.
But if the law says that you shall do it at least once every 3 years, why are we doing it every year?
And no one's ever asked that question.
Nobody, even the lawyer attached, you are people like, that is not right. And I'm like, look at the law. It's written here. It says they shall be appraised at least once every 3 years. They were looking at me like if I had 4 legs and cat ears. But apparently it made effect, because then I realized, okay, when do they come up with appraisal plan? That is January of odd years, meaning January 2027 is when the new one takes effect. So next year, we need to go and try to do it all over again for them to at least skip 1 year of appraisal.
Mm-hmm.
But then, okay, I accomplished that. Then election integrity, looking at the code. Countywide voting makes things simpler, but simpler is not good. We already have 11 to 12 days of early voting. I don't know any other country in the world where they have early voting.
Really?
Maybe there is, but I'm not aware. All South America is a single day of voting. You vote on a Sunday. You vote on the same place. Mm-hmm. And that's how it is. And Saturday night, every work closes at 10 p.m. or midnight to be sure that you make it to vote the next day. You have 12 hours to vote. And you learn the results the same day, even though it's hand-counted paper ballots. Mm-hmm. And here, like, how accommodating are we going to be? County-wide voting. And then we're like, okay, can we make this smaller? Because county-wide voting opens to more fraud. It creates more... It's harder to audit. Because if you have people voting through every county and throughout the county, and you need to audit my precinct, you need to go pretty much to many ballot boxes, scan through the ballots, put them together. Mm-hmm. So we're like, hey, let's combine precincts. I'm not telling you to have a single polling place per precinct. We have 698 precincts. That will be a lot of people.
Wow.
But we could combine. So I go and look at the Texas law. We were able to do it until in 2023, they added a limitation saying like, no, if your county is bigger than 1.2 million people, you cannot combine precincts. So you're pretty much in the extremes. Either we will have 694 doing single precinct, or we're studying countywide voting. So I'm like, this method does not follow the law completely. It's like, we should just change this in the law. We can go back into grouping. We can eventually go in a process that everybody be comfort. But it was such a hassle to get the state legislator to do that. And we kept on going to Austin and talking. And
Why do you think? Why do you think that is?
because I think that most of our Austin legislators listen more to their big private donors than to the average Joe. They, I don't think that they're there. I think that that system is very, again, back to the good old go along to get along. I think there is a system there that perpetuates problems because that gives them the platform to campaign to be reelected again.
Mm.
And I do think that I have no proof, but based on what I've seen, I think that there's a lot of financial dealings that happen there that benefit these legislators.
So one of the things that I wanted to also, I was really surprised when you said, you know what, I'm going to run for county commissioner. And I thought, wow, okay. What brought you to that decision?
Yeah.
Because it's like, you got this great job at everything. Why are you going to go there? What made you feel that I gotta do something?
Because I think that if we keep on doing the same thing, things don't change. And I'm seeing more selections than elections, meaning the same people that are in power, they nudge other people to come and run in this position. And then when you go as a valid concerned citizen and bring a concern, there's always a justification on why you're wrong, your concern is wrong, and what they're doing is right.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, with my opponent, with Tony, and I have it all fact checked, he says that I'm not right, but I have the facts. The people can go to my site, lucilafortarrant.com, and make their own opinions. That's why I'm facts and data. But it was concerning when I went to Austin. Every time I was there, representatives of his big donors were in his office. Every single time. And I was not there like every single Monday. That was aleatory days. And even when I was not there, I had a lot of people that were lobbying or working there, and they would tell me that these people were there like pretty much every day, Monday to Thursday. And these are representatives of his donors that donated like hundreds of thousands to him during his career. Then behavior that he had. Brian Harrison, he posted about the ghost voting, that situation that I think it was 107 representatives appear as present, and he look around and he's like, no,
Ghost voting? I never heard of it.
it's called ghost voting. So pretty much when somebody else checks in for you and votes for you.
Oh.
Yes. And they say that, hey, if there's a representative that is not in the floor and in the office, they're like, oh, it's okay that somebody else vote for me because they know how I would be voting. Yeah, that's what they do. Yeah, you can see in several videos somebody stretching and voting for somebody else there. So Brian asked for a roll call. That pretty much means that you call the name and somebody has to say present. Once they're done, only 65 people were there. Tony was one of them. And I went with other two people to his office because we were against school choice. I know a lot of people were for school choice. For me, like, we're conservatives. We're Republicans. We are against growing governments. We are against subsidies. This covers both. This is a subsidy that required the comptroller office to create like 42 new positions. And there was an investment, it was like, $1 billion for the first 2 years and then growing. And said and done. A lot of the private schools that are running in vouchers, they're raising their tuition up to 40%. So the people attending those private schools, now they get paid more, have to pay more because it's like, oh, I'm getting vouchers, so I'm not gonna
So there's like a wash for them, but the school was getting more.
And we keep on paying on that. And then They say that it's not going to hurt public schools. It is, because the kids get out of public schools. Public schools get funding based on enrollment. You know that very well. So, you still have to maintain the public school. It's not that
it goes by attendance, yeah.
Yeah, but let's say if you lose 20% of the attendees, you still have to pay for the 100% of the public school.
Yeah.
It's not that you can cut 20% of the public school and it goes away. So that ends up being a tax burden somewhere. So, and we went to talk to him about that. And his big donor was very much for school choice. And Tony told us, I know it's a bad bill, but I'm still going to vote for it. And when it came to the ghost voting, he was like, yeah, I was not there. I was in Tarrant, something with his daughter, and then visiting constituents. And no, he didn't let anybody know that, because normally you need to excuse yourself that you're going to be absent. They know that on the journal, and you're good to go. And he was not disturbed at all that somebody checked in from him. And I had 2 other people that were there with me. One of them is very outspoken, and she has been posting about that in social media. So I kept on seeing patterns, and I'm like, this is supposed to be like the darling in our side. This is supposed to be the moral, constitutional fighter, and this is not sitting well with me. So I started what I do when I'm suspicious, I research. And I found that in the 88 legislature in 2003, there was this bill, HB3, that was after Uvalde shooting, and it was meant to allow independent school districts to contract security for the schools.
Yeah, that's right. After the Uvalde, that's right, the Uvalde shooting.
Yeah, we all agree. My opponent, he owns a private security company, so he owns the business, he knows the business. So this bill initially was for police, justice of the peace, and municipal officers to be able to contract with the ISDs. He added an amendment that opened for private security companies to contract as well. But when it comes to voting in that bill, which he did, Article 3, Section 22 of the Texas Constitution says that any legislator that has a personal interest, a personal benefit in any legislation should disclose it and abstain from voting. Vote in every reading, and then the bill became effective in September 1st, 2023. September 21st, 2023. The company that he part-owned became a vendor with Arlington Independent School District, the school district that is within his house district. And up to this year, he has been granted $14.5 million in taxpayer-funded contract. Yeah, and that seemed like a benefit from the bill. So I think that the Constitution applies here.
So is that what that motivated you to run? Is that
because at the county level, now Judge O'Hare has been lowering the budget. We are in 800 and something million budget, but it's rounded up to 900. Tony would be one of the 5 people that vote on how to allocate that almost $1 billion budget. So for me, based on his previous behavior, that became a concern. And also, I think when he served this country, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for our military, Navy, everything, Air Force, you name it. But for me, like, when is enough? You have your business. Whether it was from HB3 or not, which I think it was, you have benefited of taxpayers' contracts. Whether it's the bill, your influence as a legislator, whatever. I was talking to somebody today that were talking about other taxpayer funding schools that he was trying to sell his services. And I'm like, enough is enough. Just retire. Go back. We need to start rotating people a little, Kathy, because I think that if not, people eventually, even good people, start doing bad things for the same reason that in Austin, that is like, hey, you're surrounded with people that are doing bad things, so at a certain level, you need to do something like that, because if not, I don't know. If not, you cannot be part of the club. I don't know what is the excuse, whatever. So I got very frustrated because I try to fix things locally. It's very hard, a lot of work, and you fix very little with a lot of work. And then I start looking at the legislator that, okay, it's like, honestly, when it comes to Austin, my opponent to Arlington, my opponent has not done much for Arlington. That's what I keep on hearing with the people that I talk here. He has done nothing for Arlington. So I'm like, enough is enough. And once again, he was running unopposed. Like he ran unopposed for everything because people thought that he was very beloved. So nobody would run against him. And I was like, no, I refuse to let him just waltz into this position when there's some questionable behavior that from when I'm standing, it's not very ethical, you could say, and it's very resemblant of the politicians back home. So I'm like, no, if we keep on allowing this, if you have a line and you keep on allowing to do this, before you realize you have a circle.
So what would you do different for being a commissioner in Precinct 2? So this is we were talking like this is what inspired you because you don't want something like that to happen here. So why should people vote for you? And I know that people are seeing where your passion is because of your background and you recognize it, and you're a data analyst, so you like to dig deep, and I get that, and I appreciate that, and I know about that. So what is it that you feel that you could serve for Precinct 2? What would you bring to the table?
I think, well, before everything, honesty and transparency, because I think that nowadays everybody's more worried about perception than bringing the facts. I have my analytical capability that is not only for legislator staff. I work in a very complex environment, aerospace and defense. I'm a Actually, I'm like system solution architect, meaning that I'm in charge of whole system for the implementation, or in sometimes just the sales and distribution. But it's all very complex processes that I need to look at them, simplify them, removing redundancies, thinking reusability, where we can always apply this also instead of building too many different patterns. I'm very savvy with technology, so all of those together, I think I can help cutting cost for the county and even making county employees' life simpler, because I think that there's a lot of processes that are being followed both at the employee level or when we're managing projects or different bids that we are granting, that it's unnecessary tangled and we don't get transparency on the return of an investment. Is we grant a bid to the lowest bidder. But many times, might be watching the Commissioners Court, and the same happens in City Council. It's like, oh, we're going to do this project, it's 2 years, this amount of money. But then 20 months later, they come back and it's like, hey, we need like 25% more money, and this is going to go for another year or so. And I'm like, wait, then you're not fulfilling your contract, so why am I giving you more money and an extension? I think that a lot of times that happens because the person that benefits from the contract might be a donor or somebody known there. I think that we can modernize the county. We can streamline process. There are so many tools these days. I'm not even talking about AI. Is so many things that you can use, that you have plenty security to make it at the county level, that you could implement when it comes. One of the biggest systems that run SAP, that run the county is SAP. I'm an SAP solution architect. I started in the system as a developer. So I know
and all that. Yeah.
I know that system inside out. Are we using this to the max of the capacity that we could? Or is just another thing that we're paying because sometimes some organizations, I don't think that Tim O'Hare is like that. I think his predecessor was, that a lot of taxing entities consider taxpayer money like free money. And they're like, yeah, let's just spend it. And if anything, we'll raise the budget. And not to mention that they had this game with Ted of getting a 10% increase every year. Well, I'm like, I'm not raising your taxes. Your tax rate is the same, but they will keep on getting 10% every year. So that does not encourage frugality per se. So I think that I can cut costs from those areas. Then everybody talks about Tarrant is growing. When we talk about infrastructure, there's two areas. First, the government buildings. Tarrant has been quite frugal, but I would help for it to continue like that. But in some cases, we're building buildings with city councils or school boards that they look like Fortune 50 buildings, like super expensive and stuff. And I'm like, we don't need that at the city or county level. Then with all of the new constructions on new developments, there's so many areas down here in southeast or southwest Tarrant that they're building so many acres and stuff of new homes, and there's this tiny street going there. You shouldn't be able to start your construction from the house until you widen that street and ensure that the residents of towns are not going to be burdened with like traffic, bad condition roads, floods. So everything when it comes to sewage, streets, everything should be accounted as the project that these construction companies are bidding on. Mm-hmm. And that is not happening these days many times, and we are the ones feeding the bill. We are the ones getting stuck in traffic. We lose enough time having to work long hours because a lot of people are struggling with the economy, so they have to work long hours to make ends meet, and then you add being stuck for an hour or so each way in traffic.
Think about that, because it's kind of like when there is, and it kind of falls in the same concept of bonds, because you get this money for a new project, right? But it's only for that project, like you said, building the buildings and all that stuff. But it doesn't account for the M&O. And the M&O is where the taxpayers get dinged, because you may have a project of a new building, right? And let's say the city owns it. Let's just say the city owns it. But what's not accounted there is the year after year budget to maintain it, the extra traffic, all that stuff. And that has to come through taxes, through the M&O bucket. And I don't think people really realize that when they're voting for a lot of these things. Or like a bond, they think, oh, it's a bond. Okay, fine. Yeah, but there's a year thing. That bond is a set amount. Yeah. And it's not going to pay for the residual. So what I'm hearing you say is that you're going to really dig deep and be transparent. And you felt like you needed to jump in this race. Yeah. And I think it's because of your background. You kind of saw like there's some things going on that you might not like. Yeah. And you just wanted to, I gotta throw my hat in.
I had to, because honestly, there's so many questions that I have, so many questionable things that I'm seeing, and I had to take action.
Could you not have just asked your opponent?
No, he has lied to me repeatedly, and not just me. Many people.
Now, didn't you? But you've known him for a while, right?
Yeah, he will tell you. I was his biggest cheerleader. I thought that he was fighting for us, and he was like the outcast, really fighting for us. But looking at him closer, a lot of that was theater. There's a lot of theater and the perception of doing something from our elected officials. There's so much effort in that 30-second X or Facebook clip to see, look how great what I'm doing. But when you go and look what they were doing, you're like, I don't think that this is as great as you're saying. So I got to the point that I got tired and I'm like, I need to do something about it. And I prayed about it like crazy and I was like, oh, shoot, I know. And you say, I have a really good job. I only report to 2 people that they love me. All my team loves me. Do I want to get in a race where I have to campaign and where I will have to respond to 250,000 people instead of 2?
It's a big, tall.
There's a big change. Not to mention that I would be getting a nice pay cut to do so.
That's true.
But I believe that a reward is not in this life, Kathy. I think that if I would just focus on my job and I ignore the things that I'm seeing, I wouldn't be at peace. And I had to do something. And that's what I'm running because I think we can do better. I think it takes somebody to go and preach with the example. And that way, that will help the people that are doing the same do accomplish even more. And the ones that are not, maybe we're Republicans. That's the beauty of Republicans. There is shameful. It's like when they see somebody doing something, they're like, oh, I don't want to look bad. So that's when they change behavior. Nowadays, unfortunately, it's going the other way. When many people are not doing the best behaviors, and it's covered by that way that they are. So
interesting. So okay, so you and it's interesting because I think everybody was a bit shocked when you jumped into the race. So what you're saying is that you would, you just want to be, I guess, the voice of the people and make sure that they know what's going on. Is that that's
Yeah,
what I'm
I
hearing
want-
you say?
yeah. I think we can do better. I think I can go.
Could you
and
work
really
with?
see
Can you work with the other commissioners?
Yeah, I can work with everybody. Very charming. But I can. And I think that there's a lot that we have in common to work on. And even with the Democrats, I think that I'm a way better person to deal with the Democrats than what my opponent would be. Because, like I said it today, but I think that I was misexplained. But honestly, with him, the Democrats try to label people in a way, and they use that to discredit everything and everything they do. With my opponent, they would be like white male Christian nationalist. And they would use that as an excuse.
Yeah.
A fascist,
They-
yes.
Yeah, I know. all
You
the names.
mentioned, it's harder with me. I'm a legal immigrant, I'm a woman, and I'm not saying that my opponent does, but I don't blindly follow line with the Republican Party. I have my morals. I agree with the party 90-something%, but I have disagreed with things like redistricting. I was the only Republican speaking against redistricting. I went to the WINTAD, I stood against the taxing entities that they were crying, oh, if you don't appraise us this year, oh, the money, the children. I was like, no, you need to be more frugal. You need to spend in your means and stop relying on the Tarrant County taxpayer to give you an increasing budget of 10% every year.
Zero-based budgeting, people.
Yeah.
That's what needs to happen.
Yeah, I stood up in front of the Secretary of State, the second in command of the Secretary of State when it comes to elections, and I told her when I was testifying in Austin about a bill that was saying punishing election fraud. I'm like, if the Secretary of State gives advisories that go against the law, they should be punished as well. It's like, I have morals and I'm clear in what I believe is right and I'm not afraid to say it. I'm not afraid to stand for what I believe, even if I have to stand alone. But in my experience, every time I stand for something, there's a lot of people that agree with me, but they're afraid. Again, Republicans, is
You get
a
the
lot of
backlash, yeah.
yeah, they don't want the backlash, but it happened to me in several occasions where I stood for something and several people stood with me. That's why I have been effective in the different areas. It's not just me doing it alone. And I think that the county government is one of those cases. We have so many private public partnerships. Those are supposed to save us money. What is the control that we're looking at to see that they actually save us money? And again, it's not a buddy system that I have this big donor that gives me money and then, oh, he owns a construction company. Oh, I'm bidding in a big construction in my precinct. Here you go. You get awarded a $50 million contract of construction when maybe Bobby Joe Construction could have done the same quality of work for 20 million or so on. I think that people are getting checked out with voting because they're tired of the same old, same old. The excuses, you're wrong, I'm right. And I think I can bring a voice to the people and get people more excited and showing them like, hey, we can do a change. At least I will try.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting thing, and the primaries are coming up. So, I mean, we're just a little over a month to election day, as far as in what, March 3rd?
March 3rd. Yes.
March 3rd. And then of course there's some other folks that are running. I think there's like four or five, I think, in this race.
District 94?
In Precinct 2.
I know, yes, 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans.
I thought it was 3. Okay, 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans.
Maybe a third Democrat. Maybe there's a girl. I don't know her.
I know there's a girl.
Gabe.
Yeah, Gabe is, and then there's another. I know another gal.
Jaron Williams. Yes.
Yes, and so it'll be interesting on who the two front runners will be. And so I'll give you 30 to 45 seconds to tell your potential voters to vote for you.
Well, yeah. If you want honest leadership, somebody that will do her best in the interest of the taxpayers, and I think that I'm very qualified to do the job and to innovate and better the quality of life of all Tarrant County residents, I would be honored to get your vote. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you so much for allowing me to come in your home and just to take this opportunity to talk with you. So I wish you the best of luck, and I know there's some more work to do. There's going to be a lot of running. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to listen and stay informed about the candidates who are running for office and making decisions that directly impact you, your family, and our community. This is exactly why we do these conversations, so you can hear directly from the people seeking to represent you without filters or sound bites. Be sure to stay engaged by listening to more episodes, liking our Facebook page, and subscribing to our YouTube channel so you never miss a one-on-one conversation like this. And thanks for listening.